traditional business loans up to $5 million and above versus expert business loans that are driven to you in a more comfortable way where you know you're getting the best out of this, you're using the funds correctly to your best advantage, producing the right gross profit margins, net, everything else included, and more. Welcome in. This is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business funding expert, a business loan broker expert, you could say pre-underwriter/underwriter, who's helped out a lot of people of different industries, shapes, and sizes get the right type of funding under the right strategic partnership umbrella for short and long term in their approach. And I've been doing this for many years. I also run multiple businesses myself. I have one in the digital marketing agency lead generation space, helping out a lot of business owners get the right types of leads underneath certain types of industries and many more. I also have one in the health affiliate marketing space. I'm sitting on an ergonomic desk chair, seat cushion, one right behind me, vitamins and supplements I've educated a lot of people on, fibrin, proteolytic enzymes, many other things too that I've done. Also other fields in the affiliate marketing space. I did a hybrid in e-commerce with my health site for some time, and then I went back to the whole blogging part of it. And then I've also done other ventures, and this is my primary focus as a business funding expert. And before I get into any of the material on what I mean by what's a traditional business loan versus an expert business loan, what are you talking about? I just want you to know that I'm very loyal. I'm a Libra, if that says anything. I'm very analytical. I'm somebody who doesn't speak much. I'm very analytical, cerebral, the intellectual type. So I review a lot of documents every single day. In the mornings, I go through my sequence of looking at a lot of bank statements, tax returns, profit and loss, balance sheets, debt schedules, everything you can really think about. And it depends on the service as well. So I do plenty of that. And then I do other things with credit pulls and other parts of the process as a business funding expert with multiple services. I'm very well balanced, emotionally controlled. I, again, am that very loyal person with the right morals, the right aspirations, beliefs. I've worked on myself in personal development for such a long time as a business owner/entrepreneur. So I know what it is like when you're just getting started, or if you've been through it and you're going through the trenches and you're still here as a non-startup, like what do you need to look for in your cash flow, profitability? How do you improve that? How do you improve cost of goods sold? Sales production, revenue production. You're looking at acquiring certain contracts. Should you negotiate these, settle on better terms and rates? What are you trying to do with specific types of funding, more specifically when it comes to the rates on that side? And there are a lot of other parts that I help people improve their business and businesses under. I've done a lot of that, helping them with their yields, their margins, net, gross profit margins, annual, how to improve a lot of different areas. There's so much to do in different businesses. But onto this topic, what I mean by a traditional business loan, I don't mean that in the sense of something being very conventional, in the sense of you say, okay, let's go to a bank and get a loan. Let's say you did it that way. I'm not speaking about that. Nor am I speaking about fintech lenders. I'm not speaking about the underwriting in general right now. I'm not speaking about going to get a specific business or personal credit card or personal term/installment loan or personal line of credit, a HELOC, or whatever it may be under a specific provider, because I work with the best lenders and underwriters that are out there by far. And I know their expectations. And heck, if I weren't here, I'd really be 100% of it would be an underwriter. That's where my brain works best. It's at looking at documents. So I do best when I'm looking at documents and I'm able to understand and underwrite them. So on this, what I mean is working with somebody who knows their stuff, knows exactly how to cater to you in your specific needs, not only in your business, but who you are as a person. How many times, and you can put this in the comments, have you tried to search for a funding service or a source, and every time you keep hitting these roadblocks and these obstacles with people who are just quote unquote selling you and pushing you, being that salesy, sleazy person, or you are just unsure about who they are and why should I work with you? You haven't given me enough of a reason why you and why your business. It's one thing the business, but why should I work with Jerry? Why would I work with Sally? Do they know enough? That's another question. Do they know and are they educated enough to share with you? Are they just giving you the minimum and trying to push you through a product and a service that doesn't make sense to you? And or it did make sense, but they didn't communicate it correctly with you. Instead of asking you this question, they asked you the wrong one or something else that they shouldn't have asked. And so I work with the full suite of services. I do everything on credit, collateral, cash flow, revenue, income backed, equity, liquidity, venture capital, a lot of other investments that you're looking to get into, and if it would be most appropriate. So all that to say, and I have my desktop in front of me, laptop, excuse me. If you do not just want to settle for mediocrity, if you don't want to settle for just being average and accepting average standards, because I'm not like that. Those of you who have worked with me, even if you haven't received funding, you would know that I'm very punctual and disciplined, very energy and time effective. Before this, I was doing a lot of stuff that now I have a chance to be on here for a little bit of time. And so if you don't want to accept what's just okay or just mediocrity and just average and below average, then it's better for you to have that help from an expert, an industry leading expert in yours truly, who really has helped quite a few people understand not just the educational point of view, but if this didn't make sense, what should you then do? How should you best approach this? How should you become better ready and suited to go after this type of service? Excuse me, because there are different providers out there that are going to look at your file differently from one to the next. And I don't want you running into people who are just over there over-promising and under-delivering, who are then overwhelming you. You're feeling unsafe and unsure, and now you're in this bubble or in this little circle that you're trying to find a way in and out, and you're just hopeful and not doing it with deliberate purpose. That's the problem that I've seen in this industry, and people again trying to shove a product down your throat that does not make any sense whatsoever to do, but because of their commission or their earnings on it, that's what they're doing. I never do any of that. I do what's in your best interest. I don't look at the amount that I earn. I literally don't. And just think about it this way. You're giving back to another small business owner. You're not going to a corporate or this big organization that has 50 plus people and you get a call from Jerry or Sally, but there's 10 or 20 other ones of them. What makes them different than everybody else? Well, we're the number one leading in the business of the... No, that's not what I asked. And so if they can't communicate with you, why them? Why should you rely? Why should you feel loyal to them instead of just being that person who clicks an ad, bounces out, clicks the next one, and then the next one, or you find one and you're like, I'll just continue forward because of convenience. But are you really connecting with the actual person? And there's a lot of that I've been putting out and signaling to a lot of you who follow me or who haven't been following me, and you'll learn more about me in time. But I, like many of you, again, I was in the startup phases. I was in a financial logistics position. This was in my younger 20s, and I couldn't move up another position because the person in front of me didn't want to retire, ex-hardware engineer. And I was doing a lot of logistics, financial logistics, data, budgeting, and ordering, and Excel spreadsheets, calculating this and that. Also lifting up media boxes for a huge contracting company servicing HP and PCell and a few other companies within the vicinity and the buildings. And so I would have to move media from shipping and receiving. It didn't pick up, and I'm not a physically built person. Hey, I went to school, I educated myself, I even played Division I soccer, but I was not, and I'm not genetically gifted. I just have always had this here, and I've always had that. And I just had to increase it. I just had to further over here enhance my education on becoming a stronger person than where I already was at that time. And so I studied a bit of sociology with that, and then I migrated into chemical engineering. I really have an analytical, mathematical, system-oriented mindset. And so I tested myself, did well in that, but then I made a big decision because I wanted to start a business. It didn't happen right away. So then I made a pivot to get into business, and I went down that route. After that, I had worked in construction, manufacturing. It was before and even after. Sometimes just to get by, because not everything is linear. I had worked in warehousing. I was doing ramp agent work. I was doing other work before all of that, before I got my degree and got into things. And even after that, everything is not linear. And so in that financial logistics position, at the time the company went down under, I was already underpaid. I would even say undervalued. And at that time, I had to go back on unemployment benefits and food stamp cards. It wasn't a good feeling at all, just going up to the register, me being introverted and not locking eyes with the person. it was really hard. And at times I would, and I'd be thankful and grateful no matter what. But walking out of there with those bags was the best feeling that I had. And for me to even bring that up is hard because I couldn't even go out and pay for a meal for my family, let alone feel like even at 50-50 of a split when I was able to, I didn't feel enough. Like, not that my confidence, yeah, it would drop a bit, but some things are out of my control. And yet at the time, I could have prepared to go into another field right away, or the similar field, and taken up another job / career, but that's not what I wanted. So right before the company went down under, I was preparing. And it was luckily through a friend of mine who reconnected with me on the Snapchat social media app. I don't even use, I use it time and time again just to like kind of look at the news if there's anything, but it's all like propaganda, social media, like it just floods your mind with stuff that you really don't need for the most part. So be careful on an app like that. But I connected with him again, and Tyson, he spoke to me about an opportunity in e-commerce, and then we got into passive income, and I already knew about some of these concepts, but I just hadn't gone into it. So that day when I was having lunch at my desk, I was literally in a 3-story building at the very bottom. You can call it a Dungeness area. And there's a bright light, but it's yet so dim at the same time. Bottom floor is all brown and cracks going down and up, left and right in a diagonal, where it almost felt like the world was going to split and I would fall underneath it. I was in a like little cubicle with 4 different corners of computers, and there I am. I even have pictures of this stuff. And I was sitting there with my lunch. I had a sandwich that day, and I was eating a Dorito bag of chips, and I had my water bottle. And my friend messages me. I look at it and we reconnect. I say, "Hi, how are you? How are things going?" And inside of me, I'm in pain, of course. I'm in a lot of pain, but you wouldn't be able to sense it on the outside. But I knew I needed to change, and he started bringing up to me concepts, and it couldn't be fast enough. Seriously, when I left that day, I couldn't get up to the elevators quick enough. Got out the doors, rushed through the doors, got to my beat-up Honda Accord that I had at the time, and then I got into the car, drove home as quickly as I could, still following the limits, of course. And I got to my door, got my keys, unlocked it, opened it, and then I closed it, didn't slam it, but on my left shoulder I have my backpack, my Jansen black backpack, and I set it in front of my stair steps. I walk around gingerly, and then to where I see my kitchen, and then next to it is a counter table where I had the countertop, where I have my laptop sitting from the morning that I was doing some research, and then I set it on my dining table, and like a lot of us do, I began to research, and I could have spent like about 2 to 3 hours after that just doing that, moving my laptop to another room to do things, and just watching video after videos, going through blog posts, social media, and that's what came about the whole digital marketing agency and affiliate marketing at that time. And I experimented, I explored. After I experimented, I went even deeper into it. I didn't earn much in the first 6 months, 12 months, to be honest with you. On the affiliate side of that, I probably earned, what was it, 8 cents or 18 cents on a pain relief product. I still remember it very well, and my excitement that, hey, whoa, this could work. And so I continue to produce blog post after blog post. I've produced over 1,500, closer to 2,000 now, over various niches and various businesses. And I really do understand when it comes to business management, understanding cash flow, projections and assumptions, understanding that if you have X amount of customers per average order value, lifetime value, how do you lower operating costs by increasing lifetime value of a client, to adding more products, perhaps you have an upsell, downsell, and if it's most appropriate for you to do to get your better cost per conversions up and cost per leads, and a lot of these other factors that go into different businesses and understanding the numbers. I won't bore you guys with a lot of this and get into it all, but I have different calculations for different businesses, those that I've helped my own as well. But just so you know that, I want you to know a little bit about where I've come from, and I can go into this story even deeper, but I'm going to just leave it right there. So back to the topic again, and I'm going to close up here. I'll go to the comments if there are any. If you want a traditional business loan, hey, nobody's stopping you. Nobody's telling you can't go, and apply or reapply underneath that company that just runs advertisements to you and they're just a big corporation and they have about 100 different people working under it, and whoever you get a call from or whoever you get an email from or text from, you're like, okay, so what? This is convenient. I'm energy and time tired. I just want to move forward. That's not what you should accept. That's not the standard. But if you want to work with somebody who can help you get those expert business loans acquired correctly, strategically, and if you just open your ears and listen, open your mind, open your heart, that'll go a long ways. Because the first point of reference I tell everybody in this is it starts with you as a person. Whenever you track everything back, when people ask me, what does being a person have to do with getting funding? Good question. Everything, meaning your characteristics, your traits, matter immensely. Look at any business, look at any entrepreneur and organization and how it's gone to where it's gone to. Why do you think that is? Look at Apple. Why do you think Apple is where it is? It's because of their why. It's not only their why in their business, but why in the owner and owners, the strategic approach to different owners of different organizations. You can track that back. And so what you sit with most is the person. And that's what sits with me most. So whenever I decide to work with somebody, I don't just take on anybody and everybody, guys. I'm at a point now where I'm so energy and time efficient in what I do that if I have anybody causing problems, friction and resistance that shouldn't be there, and it's their own wrongdoing, I'll give you a strike or two. 3 strikes, you're out. Because if you haven't learned, it's one thing to not have the education. It's one thing to have it and not do it correctly. You don't learn from it. I have people right now in my email inboxes over and over and over asking the same thing in a different way, thinking they're going to get a different result. If that's the way you're answering, if that's the way you're questioning, if that's the way you're going about it, it tells me so much. And so it's only so much that somebody can go through before they get tired. And so I give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm very nice, but I don't want to have to tell people that I can't help you because you can't help yourself. But that's what it comes down to, is if you're over here just so stubborn, arrogant, you are cocky, you're letting things go to your head, there's a lot of stuff over here, arrogance and much more. Can you leave that out the door before we step in? Because that'll also affect our process. And that'll also affect my team. I don't need that reputation being brought in. And I've had to shut down a lot of clients because of that, because of those reasons, because of how they act, because of their behavior, because of how they conduct things. And so I just want to make sure that your attitude, your efforts align, what you can control, your morals, your values, your beliefs. All of this stuff works very well for you, and you're going to see it in more areas than just your wealth. Inside of your business, you'll see it inside of your health, inside of your relationships. It's made a significant difference for me and those around me, and so I hope the same for you if you haven't been there or you continue to improve on that. But that's where I think I want to leave this video. I know this wasn't a traditional video on how to get a business loan with specific requirements, or how to get specific business credit cards, credit lines, or how to get your credit profile better prepared to look enticing to ourselves, and much more. And that's a whole different topic, and a lot of this I've already brought out. It's on the YouTube channel, so please feel free to refer to there. There will also be in the bio or in the description, depending on where you're watching from, a link to get started. There will be a questionnaire form you can fill out. You fill that out. I know how to underwrite files, but that's not an application. That's a pre-underwritten file. Even without documents, I know what to expect, what you can and can't qualify for. And there's a lot that I have to go through on my back and even give you some ballpark numbers if so. And I'll give you a very highly personalized and customized email response, even with the PDF, breaking down your best funding option and options. Even if you can or can't qualify now, that'll be an asset for you, not a liability that you can reuse and look at and say, hey, if I need this for working capital, I need this also for expansion. What does my working capital look like? What does my budgeting look like there? What would be my expansion projects if I'm trying to lease on a new building or take on new equipment and I need fixed assets, or I need more variables? I'm having more in terms of my cost of goods sold, more underneath that cost and expenses, so I can generate a better profit margin. And there's a lot more that we can go through. That'll all be there, and you'll be able to see information that is not even publicly released. And again, this is all through my analytical ways, and because I don't talk much, it's in your best interest. And that's why a lot of people also turn to me, because I'm not a talker, I'm a doer. I'm the one you don't have to tell me, not even once. I'll have the documents submitted. How did you ask for them? They'll be submitted. I can even tell you I'll get them submitted in the next hour. I'll get them submitted right now. And I'm not pushy. And so a lot of people feel entitled. A lot feel like they are deserving of something that they are not yet. You can work your way into it, or you probably are deserving of it. Maybe something in your file that a lender or an organization didn't look at correctly, and you didn't get the best amount of funding, the most amount at the best terms and rates, early payment discounts, and at the end of it, you want the education before you go into anything. So that's where I'm going to leave it at. All information will be in the description and in the bio. Let's do 30 more seconds. Does anybody have any questions? This is a spontaneous live in case you're wondering. And if you're watching this somewhere else, I did not set this at a specific time. I'll drop in from time to time and do this. People are busy. There are a lot of the times people that do come in and a lot sit in and listen. Other times it just isn't like that. Certain days people are busy. It's a Monday. I couldn't even get to anybody in a video or nothing like that today because I've been looking at documents. I've been actually doing the work that a broker, pre-underwriter, underwriter would do, okay? And so think again, when you ever work with somebody, you're watching all of these people producing content out there. What do they do? Are they just the producer of content that they may understand the material? Or are you working with somebody who's been through it, who understands it, who can also underwrite files in specific services as well? You have to think about that. But not only that, and the difference between something traditional and somebody who's an expert is that I actually know how to use the funds. Anybody can go tell you, hey, if you get a personal line of credit underneath of this business or underneath this credit union and in this regional bank, and then you add 2 business credit cards from here and 1 personal credit card from... Sure, who cares? Anybody can tell you that. Okay, it matters, but my point being is, how do you effectively use the funds? How much square footage, how many units, what would be the total purchasing price of this property, what would be your expenses accumulated, what would it be when you're having insurance on top of everything else in the property, everything else you have to add on. And there are other types of properties, but not only on that side of real estate, but on the business growth and expansion, mitigating certain risks, paying down certain expenses, meeting payroll. Like what do those numbers actually look like and what do they tell me? You go find a broker who can actually give that to you. I'm waiting. And they can precisely go through your specific details and break it down and find a hole and go, oh, I just heard you say this is where we do need to focus. Because of, if then, because. It's like a scientific experiment. And I love chemistry. Chemistry is my favorite class, guys. And I've studied that, and chemical engineering and a little bit of other things. But that's what you need to understand is the use of loan proceeds. But I'm going to take it even a step further because I do a lot of this with people. And I've done this for my own businesses. Not only the use of loan proceeds, but projections and assumptions. Do you guys even know how to make sense of that? Like when you look at your own business plan and you look at your own numbers per client, let me actually give you a few examples on what I did today earlier for a client. And there are actually a numerous amount of them. But let me bring it up right here. Yeah, just trying to remember the earlier in the day. But it is all about how you can use those funds effectively. What would be your actual net operating income? What could be your profitability if that has any direct impact over the next 3, 6, 9, 12 plus months? What would be the use of them? What will be your gross profit? What are your current profit margins? What are your current margins in general? Okay, how do you calculate that? How did you come up with that number? Your expected ROI from this in the next 3 to 6 months is because of this and this. You have 3 to 4 variable costs that are going to fluctuate over the next 3 months. You don't have enough liquidity. All your money is tied up into inventory. You're not rolling it over fast enough. And because of a result like that, you're in this predicament now. So in about 2 months, what is going to change if you have these funds? Well, you're going to still have X ample amount of supplies. You're going to still have X amount of vendors, suppliers. You're going to have this inventory sitting on your shelf. Yeah, it won't all be depleted, but I'm expecting an ROI of this and I can manage that with a piece of equipment that went down. But who's operating or who's in this part of your business? So if you lose them, you need to hire on 2 more people to get you a higher expected ROI. By when? Well, I can't right now because my equipment is down. And if I hire, I understand a lot of this stuff where others would just tell you, go get a loan of this. I'm like, I'm not a fool, guys. I'm the introvert who really listens more than he speaks, just so you know. And I can tell something about somebody even before they've even taken a breath. I kid you not. It's a gift of mine, and it doesn't have to be something transmitted over a communication of a phone call. It's like just an email, I can tell. But here I asked somebody because they're expecting a term loan or expecting an SBA loan or a term loan but a 10-year amortized loan, and I'm asking them questions based on their client. And so this is what I ask somebody else, and it's different per industry as well, so I can ask more specific questions. But certain assumptions and even projections tied into things is how many customers will be served per day and how much per average check to support the revenue you projected. Who is your customer? How will you promote the business? How will you market it? How will you get it out in front of people, more people, if that's what your plans are? How many more customers or clientele are you willing to bring in? Who will be on your team to do a lot of this? Do you have to hire anybody? What makes you different from other establishments? How do you control your cost of goods? That's a big indicator because those are variable costs that can go up and down and fluctuate. That's why a lot of people have lines of credits because of cost of goods sold, cost of sales, a lot of this other stuff. So there's more than I can ask you. These are just some of the questions that I pulled from here. There are many more depending on your industry, depending on a numerous amount of factors, but I broke down for them in a big email here, a little sizable email. Like, I need this question answered. Do they have this invested in equity? Do they have 85% collateral coverage, or not even that, but do they have amount of a collateral in this? What are their business assets? What are their personal assets? More so their business assets. If there needs to be a blanket lien, full collateral coverage. If it's already looking like a thin collateralized business, what can we base it on? Or what else can we look at specifically to add on top of that? So there are different situations for every business owner, but if you really want to get help from somebody who understands the numbers and understands really how to, because numbers are my thing, then really understand how to look at that. Okay, everybody, appreciate you all. Thank you for tuning in. Down below in the description and in the bio, there will be more information. The questionnaire form is the best to begin with. If you received the response from me, that's one thing. If you haven't, and I'm yet to get back to you, I will in time. I do get quite flooded. That's okay. You're working with an expert. Keep in mind, somebody who's more traditional in the sense, or somebody who is an expert in what they do. Do you want to work with somebody who is going to overpromise and underdeliver and overwhelm you? You're unsure about who they are. Are they very loyal, trustworthy? They're not going to help you long term. They're going to just fade away, or they won't be able to understand how to help you when you get to that level. Believe me, it happens so much. I even have a lot of people that I've trained, people that want to learn about this business. And I'm very confident and certain in what I do. I'm not ever cocky. I don't have that. I never grew up that way. You can tell my younger brother and people like that. And I'm just looking at it from the top down because I've accumulated so much experience and in so much time in helping out clients. And it's all the funding I've helped them with, but not only funding, even before that, even before not getting anything, and trying to help them align with the right one. And then from their personal point of view, who they are as a person, in their business as one, but then two, their health and their relationships. That matters immensely to me because I want to make sure at the end of the day that you're taken care of. Your business took care of you, but a lot of other reasons that not just because of your business that you're able to thrive in your health and your relationships and in other areas and aspects of your life. So that is all from me. Appreciate you for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, please click on the subscribe button. I think that's what they say. Yeah, please click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you do not miss any future content I'll be coming out with. If you did get value from it, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with others who you feel will find value from it. It can be a complete stranger, a friend, or a family member. And in fact, if you have somebody who is looking for funding, like a lot of people in my emails, or they'll contact me, Michael, I have this person, I'm willing to help you. I'm very reasonable in how I can help you as well and give you a percentage, if that's what you would like. That's another thing, if you are open to that, of course. However you decide to do that. But a lot of people will always send me somebody who they need help with. And again, it's comforting to have somebody who will never pressure you, who will not push you, who will guide you, who will be a guiding light there at the end of the day, who doesn't talk much. You're seeing me here in video just trying to get my point across. That's the majority of it, why. But who is very cerebral in their approach, who's very strategic, tactical in what they do, and knows how to build the business from the bottom up, structuring it correctly, LLC, non-LLC, S-Corp, C-Corp, dividing things, having holding companies for different LLCs, different corporations, different things you're trying to do, mostly on the LLC part there with that. But there are so many other things to designate and to figure out how to do it correctly. So that is everything from me. Appreciate you for tuning in, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Take care. Bye.